Hey guys!
Hey guys! It is 3:04. We're late, but electronics issues today. Anyway.
So we're back to the dark ages of using the phone.
Exactly, and looking up into it. But anyway, we are here today, and we just thought we'd talk about, whatever we wanted to talk about. And we did have someone on Spectrum Able who was interested in an update of me after about a year. And she just heard that I'd healed the GAPS diet. And Bethany, if you're watching this, this is for you and for anybody else who's interested. We started on the medical medium diet, the detox diet, back in January of this year. And it is it's an all raw fruit diet for the most part.
Veggies.
Veggies as well.
But what we do is mostly fruit. That's why he keeps calling it that.
Exactly.
But it's veggies and fruit.
Veggies and fruit. And so it's made a lot of changes. Heavy metal detox was one of them. Over a period of 14 days, I'm pretty sure I peed out just about every heavy metal I had because my urine was gray for 14 days. And so, what are you laughing at? And so it's made my conversation much better. My emotional intent and my verbal language actually match up now, which for her and for everybody else and for me, that had been a problem. So now that works. We have gained a little weight on the diet.
Yes.
A couple of sizes since we started in January, but that is a slow, sluggish liver detoxing your body.
Right.
But I sleep better. I have a lot more energy. I used to have severe muscle cramps. Those have gone away. And more emotion has come online than even the GAPS diet helped with.
Yes, so we had a fun experience last weekend. We had our pictures taken, and the last time we had pictures taken together was a really long time ago.
Probably the year we got married, I think. Yeah, that was 94.
Yes. And he as we were doing it, he said, "Oh, aspie, Mark would not have enjoyed this at all, but this is kind of fun."
Yeah, and it was more than just fun. We actually had a lot of fun sitting, and we'll post some of them on the page. But we had fun sitting in different places. And that
Why was it fun for you?
It was fun because it was being with you. And we were just cutting up and having fun. That was fun. Fun was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did the imaginary
espresso cup.
Espresso.
And we had fun with that. We made snide comments to each other and that kind of stuff. So that was fun too. And
yes, our friend Daniel took our pictures.
Yep. And we did crazy poses and things like that. That was fun too.
So why would that have not been fun as an aspie?
Because it was too contrived. It was me having to perform. And so the couple times that I did the improv, when you started the free improv class here in town, and then back January of 2017, I still don't like that. There is one viewer, hey viewer, whoever you are, and
that's Lisa Amber.
Is that Lisa? Oh, it is. Hey, Lisa, and it's 8 o'clock her time.
Okay.
So she's joining us from 6 hours in front of us, or 5 hours, excuse me. So, but as an aspie, I never found performing to be something that I liked because it made me too exposed, and so forcing me to sing in church. I didn't like that. And then acting on stage, no, not at all. I didn't like any kind of performance, and that's what taking pictures felt like, especially when you were out. And I was so hyper self-conscious, and I think that's the big issue with it.
Yeah.
I think other aspies are hyper self-conscious as well.
When did you lose that?
Over this last year.
So it's been the medical medium that...
the medical medium and towards the end of the GAPS, because I had to do a lot of emotional work with the EFT and forgiveness and getting rid of all the emotional traumas and all that kind of stuff. That's what allowed me to be less self-conscious and worried about what other people thought. And that took a lot of work. I'd say I've actually been working on that particular concept. The hyper self-consciousness and not being worried about what other people thought. For about 3.5 years now. Because remember when I started in grocery at the store, that's when I really encountered it, because up until then I had worked in the back of the store. When I started in grocery, I was out on the floor a lot, dealing with guests and that kind of stuff. And so that means I was interacting with guests' attitudes and the looks on their faces and what I thought they meant. And so all that self-consciousness came up, and I had to deal with it. And so over the past 3.5 years, I've slowly but surely moved it out of my way. So, and that's a big thing, I think, for autistic people, is you get hyper self-conscious because you make so many mistakes. People call you out on the mistakes, and after a while, you just get gun-shy, and you just don't want to interact anymore.
So what was interesting to me at the photo shoot was I didn't know how far I could be silly with you without you getting freaked out or weirded out.
Yeah.
And towards the end, we got pretty silly, and that was...
Mm-hmm. Well, and that worked out for both of us because, as you said, sometimes I still get weirded out, but fortunately, most of the time that doesn't happen, unless I'm having a bad energy day, kind of like today has been so far. But yeah, as far as that goes, and it's odd. I guess the reason that I got weirded out is because it made me hyper self-conscious.
You also would often say that it felt cheesy.
Yes, it felt dishonest. And I still think...
So let's talk about that.
I still think acting in some ways is dishonest. Not improv, because that is who you are at that moment. But for some reason, acting has always felt like a lie to me. And so while I enjoy TV shows, there are some TV shows, I enjoy especially Star Trek and some science fiction, but there are some of the Star Trek series that are a little difficult for me to watch still because the acting is very hammy. In other words, it's overacted. And overacted still makes me self-conscious. I think it's because all of the emotion being thrown at me in it now, and it's just like, it makes me react.
But you have started enjoying watching some things that and you told me this week that you are really getting into fiction. Let's talk about that.
Well, I never could get myself to read fiction, no matter what.
Explain why.
And I'm getting there. And so the reason being is I couldn't connect with the characters. Now, what she means by I've started watching some things that I never, and it's true, that I'm watching things now that I never would have watched as an aspie. For instance, the Poldark series on BritBox. Or is it BritBox?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wait.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Amazon Prime. And but the newest Poldark series is awesome, and I'm waiting on the last.
Now tell me why you would have hated it as an aspie.
Too much emotion. But I love it now because too much emotion. And I actually do like that because the British are such good actors. They don't seem to be overacting. And for instance, Michelle's favorite show for the longest time has been As Time Goes By, with Judi Dench and Jeffrey Palmer. And that is such an excellent show, and I could not understand that show up until about a year ago.
What was something that you saw recently? Was the first time you got it? It was Yes Minister. Yes Minister?
Yeah, probably Yes Minister. Oh, yeah, because we were watching Yes Minister, and all of the emotional games in Yes Minister are subtle, and they're word-based.
Yeah.
And as an aspie, you can't see all that stuff. As an autistic person, you don't see the subtle emotions. See, in that kind of setting in politics, you can't be obvious.
Right.
And so in Yes Minister, they show that you can't be obvious. And Jim Hacker, being the minister, he's having to learn how non-obvious you have to be. And there's probably a better English word for non-obvious than the one I use. But I just couldn't think of what it was. But anyway, so Sir Humphreys and Bernard keep trying to show him how subtle you actually have to be. And it was just a few months ago, actually.
Yeah,
that we watched it. Maybe 2 months ago.
It may have been a month. I don't know.
Yeah, a month or 2 months ago that we sat down and we actually watched numerous episodes. And I fully got it.
Yeah.
Well, almost fully. There were a couple of things.
Yeah, he had to ask me a couple things.
There were a couple things that I missed, but I saw about 75% of the emotional games that were going on, and that
No, you
made
saw
it
more
really
than that.
probably more than that. You think so?
did, yeah.
Okay, maybe 90.
I would say 95.
Okay, so we'll go with 95.
Your brain has really come on.
Yeah, and so that's been really amazing because now I can see all those emotional games. And so seeing those in a safe setting, like on TV, when I see them out in the real world, I know, that's what that is.
So he's actually been learning by watching TV series.
Exactly.
Watching people on the TV forming relationships.
Uh-huh. And just like on Poldark, it's been an excellent show because you see all the foibles of humans that as an aspie I could not see. But now as a recovered one, I can see all this stuff, and it's really cool to see. And one character on Poldark that I was really happy for when her fiance told her that he was just having trouble getting
Spoiler
over his
alert.
Yeah, well, no, because by
Okay.
then anybody in Britain, like Lisa being in Britain, they've already seen this. But Dwight had come back from the being imprisoned as a POW during the French Revolution, and Caroline thought that he was going to break up with her. And when he sat down and said he just needed time to get over his imprisonment and the traumas caused by all that, she was so happy. I was so happy for her. If I could have reached through the screen and hugged her, I would have.
And he's never felt like that.
Never felt like that. Never had a reason to, you know.
Like, why am I doing this over a TV show?
Over some girl that didn't even live, that's completely fictional 220 years ago. You know.
Emotions are crazy.
Emotions are crazy. And you know what? They're also fun. Because as some of you know, we've been writing a book proposal for our book, Heal Your Autism. And we're sending it in to Hay House as part of a contest that they put on every year, a writer's workshop. And so I've had to review books that might be in competition with our own. And one of the books is called Switched On by John Robeson. And for any of you who don't live in the States, John Robeson is an American guy who has high-functioning autism. And he's written about 4 or 5 books now. But his latest is called Switched On from 2016. And he talks about his experiences with TMS, Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation, which is a magnetic field that's induced around your head, and it activates neurons. Well, the scientific researchers wanted to see if TMS would help people with autism see emotions more and see emotions better. And that actually did happen for John Robeson. He was able to perceive emotions much more broadly and much more minutely than he ever had as an autistic person. Now, it did not make his Asperger's syndrome go away, and the effects of TMS dissipated over time. But the window into other people's emotional lives that he had was absolutely fascinating, he felt. And he feels like he's a better autistic person for having seen that. And so it's been a wonderful book because he realizes that he's been caught up in all of these emotions of family members, of his son, of a wife that he had divorced right after the TMS experiments because she had major clinical depression. And he had never been aware of that until the TMS experiments. And so he just wasn't able to handle it, and they wound up being divorced a year afterwards. But reading his book, all of those things have been paralleled in me in the past 5 years. All of this happened to him all at once, and so I could see how it was way too much to handle. Fortunately, all of my healing was gradual.
Yes.
Fortunately for her, all my healing was gradual.
Well,
because,
and fortunately for him, he had help with his new landscape.
Well, exactly. And because nowhere in the book...
Robeson didn't say he had help.
Exactly, and I haven't seen anybody else say he had support with all this coming on. Fortunately, I did with her. And so that has made a major difference in our relationship because I wouldn't have known what to do with all of this had I been single and wound up healing myself. And so it makes me wonder, how many adults are there out there who might be doing the GAPS diet or healing from their autism and don't have any support in the emotional world that is opening up to them, you know? So, anyway, that's kind of what we've experienced this week and the past couple weeks, but we don't want to fit everything in on one really long Facebook Live. But
we don't? Okay.
Well, what? We don't want to make an hour-long Facebook Live? Okay, then.
I thought we fit it all in already.
Well, we fit most of it in. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. Did you have anything else?
Not that I think of. I'm too busy trying to get this, it's not a frog out of my throat. No insult to the French intended. But, whatever this is, it's probably strep, considering it's medical medium diet. But anyway, for Bethany, who was asking about an update, just get on Heal Your Autism and browse around at some of the podcasts we've done and all the Facebook Lives, because you'll see it, and it's obvious. And you'll hear everything. We've covered just about everything, at least on the surface. All the changes that I've gone through and all the changes that we've gone through, me opening up to friendships and relationships and all that stuff. So, Bethany, this is definitely look at some of the videos. You'll really find it eye-opening.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, guys, if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll talk about those.
Okay. See you next time.